Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. We are in the middle of course selection season for all of the current ninth, 10th, and 11th graders. And for anyone who either missed our session when we pushed into your classroom, or for parents when they're helping their students finish this whole process by January 6th of 2025, we wanted to do this video for you so that you can follow along, and if you have any questions, you can refer to it. So let's get going. We are doing course selections for the 25-26 school year. A couple things to keep in mind as we go along. Make sure that you're talking with your parents about this process. They have some great insights and have been through this themselves, and maybe even with some older siblings and things like that. We are down to the wire for first semester, so make sure that you're working hard to pass your classes, and you're going to need to put a deadline on your calendar to have this whole process of submitting your courses into SchooLinks by January 6th, which is the last day of winter break. You will actually have an appointment with your counselor either in January or February. It will be about 10 to 15 minutes long, and a chance for you to go over your selections as well as get any of your questions answered and things like that. So we have to get through several hundred students. So make sure that when you get your pass or when you find your appointment that you're on time so that you don't lose any additional time. Keep in mind that you have to have 222 credits to graduate. In order to be a sophomore, you have to have at least 45 credits, 102 credits for a junior, and 144 credits to be a senior. Each of your classes is worth 5 credits for a semester. There are a few exceptions, but that's generally how it works. And you need to take a minimum of 30 credits, so at least 6 classes per semester, a total of 60 per year. You can take up to 80 per year, though, if you do no study halls and do a 0 hour. Depending on what your grade level is going to be for next year, you have different requirements for graduation. In general, you have to have 4 years of English, you have to have 3 years of math, 2 years of science, 2.5 years of social studies, PE every single semester except when you have driver's ed and health. You have to have a financial literacy requirement, which is either economics or macroeconomics or consumer education. And you have to have your safety education requirement, which is driver's education, the classroom portion. You don't have to have behind the wheel. And then you have lots of electives that you get to choose. And there's various levels of each of those. There's the regular, the honors, the dual credit, the advanced placement, dual language, all sorts of different things. We even had a presentation that we posted recently about all those different levels and how you can choose which one is the right one for you for each different subject. So please take a look at that on our YouTube page. However, if you are thinking that you might want to go on to a four-year college, especially, but even a 2-year college or some trade schools, not only do you have to have the requirements for District 200, which I just outlined on the left, but you also need to make sure that you're preparing yourself for admission to your next step. So you still want to have 4 years of English, but you'll probably want to have 4 years of math as well, and at least 3 to 4 years of science, including biology, chemistry, and physics. Your social studies should have at least 3 years. Continue the plan with the PE, health, and driver's ed, but you want 2 to 4 years of the same world language. Many colleges require 2 years of a language to get in. Some just recommend it. Some recommend up to 4 years of the same language. Oftentimes, if you do have 4 years of the same language, you can get out of the requirement that is on for your actual graduation from that institution. But each college has different requirements, so take a look at the ones that you're most interested in. We get a lot of questions about what's the difference between honors, dual credit, and AP. So just here's a little overview of that. All of your honors, most of your dual credit, and all of your advanced placement classes are on a 5-point scale for grade point average. These classes are faster paced. They have an increased workload. Many of the dual credit classes have a prerequisite, whether that's a grade point average prerequisite or a certain class that you have to have taken and received a certain grade. So be careful and watchful of that as you are signing up for dual credit classes. The dual credit classes are ones where you get credit at Woodstock High School or Woodstock North and McHenry County College. They're taught here at the high school, but you get 2 transcripts. And remember, those transcripts last for 60 years beyond high school. So you want to make sure that you're getting really good grades in those classes because they stay with you for a very long time. That's why we say you should be getting a C minus or better in any of those dual credit classes. They will go on your transcript if you get a D or an F, but they will tend to hurt you more than help you in that situation. As far as advanced placement goes, you need to have at least taken the AP exam. And for most colleges, you need a 3, 4, or a 5 on that AP exam in order to get the college credit. It depends on which college you're going to and which subject. They get to decide if you get credit for a specific class or for an elective. There's different laws in place in the state of Illinois. If you're going to a state school, they have to give you something for a 3, 4, or a 5. But private schools, out-of-state schools, really it's again up to each individual school. And there is a little bit of a cost difference. Our honors classes are free. They're just part of our curriculum. Dual credit, you will pay $25 towards MCC. There are a few exceptions to that. We have some classes that are called PCCS classes that are actually taught out at MCC. Those you pay a third of the tuition. Those are things like fire science and criminal justice, HVAC, manufacturing. I think it's app development. I think that's all of them. And the advanced placement, you pay for the test itself. It's approximately $100. Some important things to know with those dual credit classes that we just were talking about. These are rigorous college level courses that you get credit at both institutions for. While they can reduce the cost and the time that you're using to get through some of your college classes, keep in mind that those grades stay on your transcript throughout your working life, so 60 years or so. They are available in both core classes, so English, Math, Science, and Social Studies, but also in every single one of our elective areas as well. So lots of great opportunities there. Keep in mind that if you have to have at least a 2.0 cumulative grade point average on your college transcript, whether that's from MCC or anywhere else, in order to receive federal financial aid. So keep those grades up, everybody. Now let's take a look. If you go into your PowerSchool accounts, these are the students only, and it's going to be on your computer. You're going to open that up and go all the way down on the left-hand side, and it will say course recommendations. Use these recommendations from your teachers to make some decisions about your classes. We asked that many of the core classes give some type of recommendations, specifically math and world language, so those should be in there. If you do have questions, please ask your teachers, reach out to them face-to-face or over email, and that can be a jumping off point for you. All right, so each one of you in your classes, when we pushed in, would have gotten a sheet that looks something like this. This is just a worksheet and gets you started as far as brainstorming what classes you might want to take in order to put those into SchooLinks and choose those for next year. Keep in mind that there's 7 periods in the day. You have to take English, Math, Science, Social Studies, PE, depending on your grade level, and then you have elective options after that. You also received a sheet that looks something like this with all of the courses that are available by grade level. You'll notice that most of the classes have a credit number to the right of their name. You'll see a 5 or a 10. Again, that's indicating how many credits each class is worth. If it's a 5, it's a semester class. If it's a 10, it's generally a full year class. You'll also notice that there are some classes that are indented here. That indented aspect means that there's a prerequisite. So if you want to take early childhood education and work with the preschool kids, you have to have taken child development first. For any dual degree students, if you're wondering, hey, how do I take a look at my 4-year plan that we already set up? Go ahead and open your Google Drive and type in plan of study, and your 4-year plan should pop up. All right, so let's get started. If you go to your school's website and scroll down past the first picture, you're going to see that there is a link to this WHS or WNHS Student Services. You'll click on that. It'll say Learn More, and go ahead and click that. And then it will bring you to our website. There's a lot of different information on that website that we really want you to be aware of. And that's going to be information from what you should be doing each grade level to the What's Next calendar, what's going on in the College and Career Center, as well as our YouTube page and a link to SchooLinks. So the link to SchooLinks, if you're on that page, is the upper left-hand corner of all the different buttons there. There's a SchooLinks login tab for students, as well as right below that is a parent version. And parents, you can actually mirror along and watch, have a view only opportunity to look at SchooLinks with your child. It has everything from career exploration to college application information, as well as this is where they will put their classes in for the next year. So course selection. Remember, it's going to be in their SchooLinks portal, not the parent portal. So when you get to the SchooLinks, go ahead and log in with Google. It's going to bring you to a page that looks like this. It might have a red box here. That's just your to-do list. I encourage you to come back and explore and do some of those things. But for right now, we're going to go up here to the SchooLinks or to the School tab where it has the apple and down to Course Planner. It will open up another page and it will look like this top part. You're going to go ahead and hit Complete Plan and then Let's Go. You'll also need to click on this Continue button in the upper right-hand corner. And this is where we're getting into the program of study with the actual plan. For your English, Math, Science, and Social Studies classes, you're going to have to select a sequence. So you can either select it here or select it with this blue button. And it will open up a regular sequence, an honor sequence, a special education sequence. There might be another ELL sequence over here or a dual language sequence depending on the topic. And it will come to this page where you actually get to select your courses. So you can take a look. You're going to want to actually click on this red rectangle where it says Add Another Course. And again, here's the steps. You go to the sequence, you choose your sequence, choose that red rectangle, and then it'll have a drop down right here. So you choose the one that you want. These classes are bundled, which means they are first semester and a second semester, as long as it's a year-long course. Click the one you want and it will populate. Here's just an overview of some of the flow charts. Like this is a math flow chart that you might want to look at. This is also available in SchooLinks. I believe doesn't show on my screenshots, but in the lower left-hand corner, there should be a link right over here that says like course catalog, and you can link to that. Okay, back to the math sequence. Once you're done with the English, then you can click in the upper right-hand corner where it says continue, and it will bring you to the math section. Keep in mind that you can jump between sections by clicking continue, or you can click on these different icons. So each icon is a different subject. English is the book, science is the frog, and social studies is the globe, things like that. If you have a green bar here, this means that you have projected forward all 4 years of high school, so English, math, or 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. But if you haven't, don't be worried. If it's red, it just means that you haven't projected all the way through and haven't actually met all your requirements with your plan. You can do the full projection if you want. If you're not ready for that, that's okay. Just make sure that you are complete for the 25-26 school year. Okay, so as we go through, you can hit continue. Again, here's your science sequence. Here's that red bar that I was talking about. This person hasn't gone all the way through to choose science options. You can make some changes. Let's say you chose the honors sequence and you really want to see what else is available. You can uncheck this sequence box, and then you'll be able to see all of the different options as far as courses go. All right. Here is the social studies. Again, lots of different sequence options. Keep in mind, if you want dual language classes, you need to choose those specifically. Also, you'll see some electives may be added in different subject areas. There's lots of social studies electives in addition to the requirements. If you're wondering, hey, I don't know about this class, what's it all about? Click on the question mark and it will give you the description as well as prerequisites and things of that nature. When you get to the PE section, keep in mind that you have to have a class that has a course number with an A. That means it's a first semester class, or a B is second semester class. Be sure that you're doing an A and a B, not two of one section or the other. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll also see, hey, how am I doing as far as meeting those requirements? If it has green dots next to each one, you have projected out and have planned for all of those requirements. As far as financial literacy, this is required for graduation. Most people take it as a sophomore, or not as a sophomore, as a senior, but you can take it from sophomore through senior year. That would be consumer education, economics, or macroeconomics. And then once you get to the art, world, language, music, and CTE courses, this is where all of the different, what I call electives, are going to fall under. For world languages, you're going to choose a sequence on the student's screen. Sometimes this dual language sequence is tucked under the French one because they have a smaller screen. So make sure you look for the correct one. And you're going to choose the sequence and then choose the class within there. Let's say you actually have either already chosen your language or you don't want to choose a language. Go ahead and hit clear selection, and then it will open up and you can choose any elective. So here's what it will look like with the languages. But as far as choosing other electives, what's really nice is you can go in here and you can put in a certain subject area. You could say, I want to see all the art classes or all the music classes. You can go ahead and change some of these grade levels. Maybe you are ahead in a specific sequence and you need to see what else is available, or you're a little bit behind, you or a transfer student and didn't get into the correct sequence of our PLTW classes. You can put all of that in there and change that. You can also go ahead and start typing the class off of your initial sheet, and it'll start populating based on what you're typing into that area. Every once in a while, you'll get this error message. It's going to say, hey, thanks so much for putting that class in here, but it doesn't really go into this category. We moved it up to the category it belongs in. So in SchooLinks, when they say electives, they're really just thinking of Avid and Study Hall, or Odyssey, if that pertains to you. So this elective category is really just those other things that don't fit in an actual subject area of things like art, music, business, family and consumer science, and CTE, like the top of this says. Okay. You will be asked to choose some alternates, which is this asterisk up here. Alternates are the backup plans. If you can't get into the first choice of your elective, make sure that you give us at least 2 elective alternates and 1 PE alternate in SchooLinks. I think will only allow you to put 3 things in, so make sure one of those is a PE class. If you are a senior, make sure you have 1 English class alternate. In the end, it will bring you to this summary page. Actually, it's this square, this grid box up here, but again, you can hit continue. And that will bring you to the overview of all grade levels, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. You'll see that it will populate what you've already completed, including your grades. So it looks a little different than mine here because this individual demonstration doesn't have grades in it, but you can take a peek and look at your 4 years. Again, don't get too concerned if it has red with it. That just means that you haven't projected all the way through senior year. As you are planning, you must have at least 60 credits, at least 60 out of a minimum of 60. You can have 70, you can have 80, but again, keep in mind you can only have between 60 and 80 credits. Once you've looked through this whole thing, you've made sure that you have met all of your requirements and you have added your alternates. Then after talking with your parents, everybody's in agreement, then you can hit submit plan in the lower right-hand corner. Again, we want you to do this by January 6th. You will potentially see an error message, maybe a little triangle by some of these classes. That just means that you have an error of some type. Maybe you don't meet the prerequisite. We've had some students who are trying to sign up for dual credit chemistry and it has an error saying you haven't taken Algebra 1, and they may have taken Algebra 1 in 8th grade. Just keep in mind that the SchooLinks doesn't know what the student took before high school. So if you know that you took an Algebra 1 requirement, go ahead and submit, and we'll double check that when you meet with your counselor in January or February. And when you do hit submit, you'll have an opportunity to write in any questions that you might have for your counselor. That will go to your counselor and give you an idea of things that you can discuss at that meeting. So fill that in. And then just some final reminders before you finish up here is you have to have at least 6 classes per semester. If you did sign up for a 0-hour class, make sure it was the one that had 0 hour in it. Otherwise, you're going to be signed up for the one during the school day. But we do not provide transportation, so you have to provide your own. There will not be any busing. You're only allowed to have basically 1 study hall per semester because you have to have at least 6 classes. And seniors, make sure you get that English alternate put in there as well. Whatever it is that you want to do after high school, that should really be what's driving the decisions that you're making as far as exploring different things at the high school level for your career. So make sure that you're making decisions that make sense for you as an individual, not so much that is what your best friend's taking or what your older sibling took or things like that. Make the decisions that make sense for your future. Again, here's just a quick overview of what you need for each grade level, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And we took, a lot of students took pictures of their worksheet before they turned it into us. You do not have to turn this worksheet in if you are just seeing this for the very first time. You don't have that worksheet, but you could stop by the Student Services office if you want a copy, as well as a copy of the list of classes, but you do have to submit all of your choices into SchooLinks by January 6th, the last day of winter break. If you have questions, please reach out to your school counselor, and we would be happy to answer any questions about course selection. Thanks so much, everybody.